Hi, and welcome to English Story Vault. Are you learning English? That's great. Today we'll improve your English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Let's begin. Part 1. The Shocking News. It was May 22, 2025. Something very surprising happened at Harvard University. The U.S. government sent a message that shocked everyone on campus. The message was about international students who come from other countries to study in the U.S. The government announced a new rule. Harvard would not be allowed to accept any new international students starting next school year. This meant students living outside the U.S. who wanted to study at Harvard could no longer come. But that's not all. The rule also affected international students who were already studying at Harvard. About 6,800 international students were currently enrolled at the university. They came from many different countries. Now the government told them, you must leave the U.S. or transfer to another school, fast. They could not stay at Harvard. This news brought fear, stress, and confusion. Thousands of students felt their dreams and futures were in danger. Their education, jobs, and lives in the U.S. became uncertain. Harvard responded quickly. The university leaders strongly disagreed with the government's rule. They said it was unfair, harmful, and possibly illegal. Harvard said international students are a very important part of the university. They bring new ideas, different cultures, and strong skills. Losing so many students, almost 25% of the student body, would hurt the school deeply. Teaching and research would suffer. Harvard said the government's rule was not just bad policy, it was an attack on the heart of the university. They believed it was a mistake that would hurt not only Harvard, but also American education and the country's global reputation. This announcement on May 22nd created a big crisis. It started a legal fight between Harvard and the U.S. government. Part 2. Harvard Fights. Harvard didn't wait. The very next day, May 23rd, it took action. The university went to a federal court in Boston. They asked the judge to stop the government's order immediately. Harvard's lawyers explained that the government was using a law meant for schools with serious problems, like poor facilities or bad management. But Harvard had no such problems. Harvard argued the ban was actually about disagreements over ideas and opinions on campus, not about real safety or rule violations. They believed the ban was unfair and broke legal rules. Harvard told the court the ban would cause serious, quick damage. Thousands of students would lose their place at the university. Many were studying important subjects like science and medicine. Their studies, degrees, and careers would be ruined. The university also said Harvard would lose something very special, its diverse and global community. International students bring new languages, cultures, and ways of thinking. Without them, Harvard would be smaller, not just in number, but in ideas. Harvard said clearly, without international students, Harvard is not Harvard. This powerful message showed how much the university values these students. Going to court so fast showed how serious Harvard was. They believed this was the only way to protect their students and stand against a harmful and unfair decision. Part 3. A judge steps in later. That same day, May 23rd, something important happened. A federal judge named Allison Burroughs listened to Harvard's case. Harvard told the judge how badly the ban would hurt the university and the students. Judge Burroughs agreed. She saw the damage would be serious and happen quickly. She understood there was no time to wait for a long trial, so she made a decision. She gave a temporary order to stop the ban. This order didn't end the ban forever. It just paused it. For now, thanks to the judge's decision, students didn't have to leave immediately. They could stay at Harvard while the case continued. The university could also keep its work going as usual, for now. This was not the end of the story, but it gave hope. Both Harvard and the government now had time to prepare their full arguments. A final court case would come later. But on May 23rd, the judge gave international students a chance to breathe. Her action was a major step in the legal fight that had just begun. Part 4. Why did the ban happen? The U.S. government explained why it gave Harvard this ban. The main explanation came from Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem. She said Harvard created an unsafe campus environment. She claimed the university allowed people with anti-American views or ties to terrorism to stay on campus. She also said Jewish students were harmed by these individuals. The government also accused Harvard of working with a group from China that they called a paramilitary organization. This, they said, was a national security threat. Another problem, the government said Harvard didn't share important records about foreign students. They had asked for details about protests and student activities. They claimed Harvard was too slow or didn't give enough information. Secretary Noem said enrolling international students is not a right, it's a privilege. She said schools must follow rules to keep this privilege. She also said this action was a warning to other universities. If you don't follow the rules, the government could take strong action against you, too. In short, the government gave 3 reasons for the ban: unsafe campus conditions, national security concerns involving China failure to provide student records. They said this ban was about keeping the country safe and holding schools accountable. Students feel scared. The news about the government's ban on Harvard made many students feel scared. Thousands of international students felt deep fear and confusion. These students had come to Harvard from many different countries around the world. Now they were very worried about their future. They also worried about their student visas. Could they still study at Harvard? Could they stay in the United States? The idea of leaving suddenly was frightening. Many students shared how they felt. They said the situation was very stressful. Some said they no longer felt welcome in the country where they were studying. Their plans for completing their degrees and building their futures were now in danger. Students studying for master's degrees, PhDs, and researchers were especially worried. They were afraid of losing their work and their place in labs. One student from Australia said the situation was just overwhelming. It felt like being told to pack up and leave overnight. A researcher from India said she felt shocked and sad. She and her friends were trying to figure out what to do next. A student from Canada said international students bring fresh ideas and help everyone understand the world better. A student from Sweden said it felt like students were being used in a political game. He said his dreams of studying were now broken. A student from Pakistan said he no longer felt welcome in the U.S. He was the first in his family to study abroad. He said the situation was very unfair. A student from South Korea was afraid to go home for summer break. She feared she might not be allowed back into the U.S. An Indian student said her group of friends, many from different countries, felt like their future was ruined. For many students from India, studying at Harvard is a huge dream. Now everything had changed. Where they lived, their school plans, even graduation. Harvard was supposed to be a place for people from all over the world to learn together. Now, that idea felt like it was falling apart. Other universities across the U.S. also became concerned. Foreign students at other schools started calling their offices, scared that they might be next. University leaders were worried the same thing could happen to them. Governments from many countries spoke out too. Nations like Belgium, China, India, and Canada asked the U.S. government to protect students. They said using education in this way was harmful to America's reputation. China said this move damaged how the U.S. looked to the rest of the world. Experts share. Ideas experts from many areas shared their opinions about the ban. Many law experts said the ban was not legal. They explained that schools usually lose the right to accept foreign students only for clear reasons, like not following basic rules or losing their license. But the reason for Harvard's ban seemed different. These legal experts believed the IU government was punishing Harvard for its ideas or actions, not for breaking rules. They said using the student visa system this way was very unusual and weak in court. However, some national security experts supported the government. They said the U.S. has the right to be careful. Foreign students and what happens on campuses are important for national safety. They believed the government had reasons to worry. Education leaders also spoke out. They said international students are very important to U.S. universities. These students work in labs, help with teaching, and bring fresh ideas, especially in science and technology. They also help the economy. A report said foreign students brought nearly $44 billion to the U.S. economy in just 1 year. Leaders said the ban would hurt universities and make the U.S. less competitive in the world. Politicians had different opinions. Some supported the government. They said the ban helped keep campuses safe and made sure schools followed rules. President Donald Trump supported strong immigration rules and backed the ban. But many other politicians disagreed. They said the government's action was a misuse of power and harmed the freedom of schools. One even called it authoritarianism. So many experts, education leaders, and politicians shared strong and different opinions. Their views showed how complex this issue really was, with legal, security, economic, and freedom questions all connected. A look back. Has this happened before? This is not the first time the U.S. has had problems with rules for foreign students. In 2020, during a public health crisis, the government made a rule that said if a school was fully online, foreign students could not stay in the U.S. Students and schools strongly opposed this. They went to court, and soon the rule was removed. That moment showed that problems like this can happen and that schools are willing to fight back. But this new ban is much more serious. In the past, the government sometimes asked for information from schools, but they never fully banned a famous university like Harvard from accepting foreign students. This is a much stronger move. Experts say it could cost the U.S. a lot, both in money and reputation. Foreign students pay for classes, housing, food, and more. That brings billions of dollars to the U.S. economy every year. If they go elsewhere, the U.S. loses talented people and a lot of money. Many of these students are hardworking and brilliant. They help the country with research and new discoveries. If they stop coming to the U.S., they may go to other countries like Canada, Australia, or places in Europe. That means the U.S. could lose future scientists, inventors, and leaders. The ban also affects how the world sees the United States. For many years, the U.S. was seen as the best place to study. Now, people might think twice. They might see the U.S. as a place where rules change suddenly and where foreign students are not welcome. What will happen next? The legal fight is not over. A big court hearing is coming. A judge will listen to both sides again. The government wants to keep the ban. They say it's about safety and rules. Harvard wants to protect its students. The university says the ban is unfair and illegal. They say losing thousands of students would cause serious harm to the school. This case is important for more than just Harvard. Other universities are watching. They are worried the same thing could happen to them. This court decision will show what the government can do to schools when it comes to international students. It will also tell students from other countries whether they are safe and welcome in the U.S. Many students still feel anxious. They don't know if they can stay and finish their degrees. Their future now depends on what a judge decides.